Hello YouTube. Don't know if anyone will catch this. Been building today. I'll do a vlog about it later. I don't know if this is going to work. Camera's lagging again. Hair's messy as well. Working. Shelves are up. Shop dog's in. Shop dog. You see the tail way in there. Up, 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 up. So I'm looking for a tennis ball now. So I've built a shelf here. I have recorded some bits, hoping to turn that into a project video. Just about to fix. I've cut a block of 2x4 to go in here, which I want to use as a hook. Sounds like a Spitfire going over. Nope, just a little private plane. I'm going to use that so that my larger clamps can hook over that. It's wedged in place, but certainly not going to hold with the weight of some clamps, so I'm going to screw that in place. Front width, which I shall do. Hey, g'day, Demo. Demo. G'day. My best Australian accent. I'm guessing it's pretty late at night with you. Early in the morning? .48 a.m. You got insomnia, or you just an early riser, or did you not manage to fix the bed? Right. I need a couple more 50mm screws. Problem is, I've taken my screw shelf down, so now my screws are on a pile on the table, on the bench. And of course, the one I want. Yep, right at the bottom. Demo. Yeah. Cool. I shall try and remember that. Right. Now I've got to get into awkward corner behind bandsaw. Oh. This is the moment where I wish I was left-handed. Ooh, sorry to hear that. Been there. Yeah. Drill extension's too big. I need shorter bit driver. And even this might be too long. Hi Duncan, how are you? Sorry I missed your live feed earlier. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet. Right, that's nice and solid. So now, hello dog. somewhere for the big clamps. And one more. Hi, Rob. These, I've got a pair of these Wolfcraft quick release but long clamps from a car boot sale last year, and I think I paid a tenner for the pair of them, and they're okay, but sometimes it doesn't. The spring doesn't want to return back, so they do clamp, but I think a little bit of surface rust. I think at some point I need to strip them down and clean them up. I think they'll run a bit smoother then. So there we go. I have a new set of shelves and my storage boxes. Hi, Wayne. So putting that together today. Quite pleased with that. And now I've got the small issue of I've lost my screw storage and my tape storage. Well, I probably could fit most of my screws on there, I think. In fact, that might be just probably not quite big enough. Yeah, but I think it's going to do, at least for the big screws. I'm going to move my smaller screws over to kind of alongside where the computer is actually, so I've got them handy. So I can put my bigger ones over there and some of the ones I don't use quite so much. Should fit reasonably well over here. Not quite. A little bit too snug. How are we all anyway? We all had a good day. Damo's not, as he's asleep and it's early morning. Not asleep and it's early morning. Dog's just down here, not quite in view of the camera. Come on, up. No. Oh, just see the tail there. And this is another thing I've got to find a way of storing. I've got rolls of thread. These conical ones, kind of from industrial. And these quite nicely. Here's a little tip. You've got rolls that are this shape and you want to store them without them unraveling. Just get a plastic drinks cup. Slotting really nicely. Doesn't it does, yeah, it would work for, it's not quite so good. For those ones, absolutely perfect. So yeah, this industrial thread, can't remember where I rescued it from now. It's been thrown out. And I can't stand things being thrown out, which is why I've got so much stuff. I think the camera makes this look a little bit bigger at the moment. It's what is it? It's I should know it in meters. I think I'm about 2.5 meters. 2.3 there. So yeah, about 2.5 meters that way. and 2 meters that way. So 5 square meters almost exactly. Benches on 3 sides. This is actually a sink. Originally, when this house was built, there was the concrete outhouse built, with concrete brick, with a concrete lid roof, flat roof. Half of it was the coal house and the outside toilet, and the other half was the scullery. And this was the scullery. This little corner here sticking out is the remains of the chimney, still up on top. It's capped off outside. And there was a Belfast sink here, big china sink, really heavy. Sorry? I'm doing it live. So there's a really heavy sink there. So when I was doing it out, I did the kitchen actually. When I did the kitchen, put in a new sink in there, and so underneath this board is a single sink, stainless steel sink, and so I've just got this board on top with a couple of holes drilled through it in case the tap strip. And that gives me water if I need it. I don't use it very often, but when I do have it, if I got something really mucky and I need some hot soapy water, but I can do that. Brought hot out here as well, because originally it was just cold. Yeah, it's wide angle lens demo, so I can fit the whole thing in. It's one of the reasons why I didn't want to buy a webcam, because webcams tend to have a much narrower field of view. This one's got, well, I think it's about double the width of view of a webcam. So I know if I got rid of that, I would have a lot more space. Yeah, I could fit a lathe in there or a small CNC. But neither of those things are going to happen very quickly. So I have partially filmed, tried to do a few little artistic things of that. Been a bit tricky. I couldn't find the camera fitting for my tripod. So I had the tripod, but I didn't have it on for going on the camera. Eventually I found it on one of my cameras, which of course is the obvious place to look. I've been doing it all on my phone. I just find using the DSLR at the moment, it's just a faff. And I'm trying to just get myself into the habit of filming things and editing it quickly and getting it up. So I figure if I can get into the habit of doing that, then I can start working on improving the quality of what I'm producing and getting more. So when I do more projects, I've got something to work on. Here's another little tip. I had to take this off. This is the top of one of my kids' old sort of milk bottles from when they were babies. And in fact, here's some of their old toothbrushes as well. Obviously, used toothbrushes are great for cleaning chains, things like that. So if I put that in there, it's just going to tip over. It's really unstable. So just a washer and a screw through the base of that into, originally it was just there, but I'm going to have to find another place for it now, or maybe find something else instead of it. And that just holds it in place, easy to grab things. Yeah, I think the quality on phones now is fantastic. The only problem I have with it really is that when I go from taking pictures, just photographs, to video, the field of view gets much smaller. And the advantage of my DSLR is that I can go much wider angle. And I think that's if you're trying to do a project, trying to get everything in, I think that is possibly better. So trying to think about shots and how that might work. So when I'm vlogging, I'm kind of holding it at arm's length just find that easier to move around. I know perhaps it's a little bit staid when you kind of look at the videos, but I'm hoping that the content and what I'm talking about is the thing that people will be interested in. Well, I do seem to have lost a few subscribers again lately. Had a bunch come out this week. It's interesting that analytics doesn't keep up. So when I look at my kind of sort of channel page, it says one number. When I go to the YouTube Studio Beta and look at it, it shows a different number. And then today, on YouTube Studio Beta, it showed the lower number. And then when I sort of looked, even though I'd looked at it last night, it showed that I'd lost 3 subscribers on Thursday and Friday. So I don't know if it doesn't just keep up. Yeah, I think actually, Rob, if I had my old smartphone wasn't great, so most of the time at the moment, make sure where I put my phone. Still in the tripod. My current phone's a Moto G5. It's a few years old. Had it reconditioned. Bought it reconditioned last year. My old Windows phone wasn't great. But I think, yeah, almost. What I might actually need, what I want to try, I have one of those little sets of clip-on lenses for photography, recommended to me by Andy Berkey. And I bought one, and it's great, do some macro things, and there's a wide-angle lens in there. And I might see about actually trying that for video. There's no reason why it shouldn't really work. That might make doing kind of almost shots like this a little bit easier, though there is obviously distortion. It does make everything look bigger than it is. Had quite a bit of problems this morning getting the old shelf off. I'd screwed it. There's a wall bar behind there, and I screwed the shelf in from underneath. And I must have put then this shelf in later, and that's also on a wall bar and screwed down into the wall bar. For the life of me, because it's nearly 10 years ago since we moved in and I first did the Tinkerage app, I couldn't remember how I'd managed to screw it in. The electrics had gone in afterwards, so there was a junction box in the way, so I had to just take the top off that and move out to the side a little bit. And in the end, I was trying to undo it. I thought, well, one option is to take out this shelf, but that seemed like a lot of work, literally taking it off the wall bar as well. I didn't really want to do that, so in the end, I had to use a ratchet, a socket set. Managed to find a PosiDrive 2 bit for it, because a little stubby screwdriver I had just wouldn't shift them. Thanks, Rob. So yes, we'll have a go at using those. Yeah, I like the idea of having kind of almost like multiple cameras. I know it produces a lot of footage. So one of the things that I intend to do, I mounted on the ceiling is the sides from a couple of old beds. At the moment, I've just got an L-shaped kind of going into this corner. The light fitting is going across it. But I hope to kind of almost be able to, I might try and see if I can find some of those screw-in tripod adapters and just work out the best place to put them. I might need to make like almost maybe a plate to hold a camera so that it can be giving overhead shots. I don't know whether I'll use something like the action cam that I'm using for this, or whether I'll try and make it strong enough that it will take my smaller DSLR. I've got two. One is really quite heavy. It's the main one that I use. It's a Nikon D7000. I've got a Nikon D5100, which is the lighter one, the one I tend to use for video because it's got a flip-out screen that the D7000 hasn't. And I might try and see if I can mount that above, almost in the similar way that Casey Neistat has in his studio. So if I'm working on something, maybe some electronics, I can get shots, or carving, I can get shots where my hands aren't in the action. It's one of the things I find, it's such a small space. Yeah, it's difficult to mount a camera kind of facing towards you. But I guess that's something that I will have to fix. That's part of what I'm doing here, is trying to get the space so that it is easier to record. It is easier to solve some of those problems. So yes, my next problem is find something to do with the screws, threads, and tapes. Tapes. Back in a second. All my tape is in my trug. So not 100% bolty dish, but at some point it's going to become the boss for a shield. Perfect almost. Just needs. So I'm going to bash the flat base out so it's a bit more rounded. I think that cost, another thing from Home Bargains, about 50 pence, 60 pence. So yeah, I've got to find somewhere for all my tape. Although I think some of it still works. That reel's probably about 20 years old. I also need to think about what I'm going to do about fixing this. I don't know whether to fix it to the ceiling. The thing is, the ceiling's so low. I'm 5'8", so you can see how low the ceiling is. That's 1.72, 1.74 meters. So I can't really mount this to the ceiling. Although I might, if I could put it over there, but then it's going to block the shelves. So at the moment, it just sits on a hook over here, just behind the bandsaw. And I still need to do a bit of sorting out with my compressor. I want to get a couple of water trap and an inline filter to go on there, and maybe mount those somewhere. Well, quite a deep corner there. I've got the compressor in there, a set of shelves and a pile of cans of things like Thompson's water seal, and I think there's some Flash floor cleaner. So I've got a bit of space under there. I'm hoping at some point to pick up a welder, so that might be a space where the welder goes. Then it might go deep on the floor under here. So there's still quite a lot of jigging and poking to happen in here. I've got, I'm hoping from the reorganization point of view, obviously I've just done that today, and I'm glad I managed to get that sorted today, because that's going to make a difference. I've got one left over, so that will become, actually I've already got one of these. Yeah, there's my Arduino one anyway, so I might send that into the house. And I've now got to think. I'm glad I've managed to get my big clamps stored. I don't have a huge number of clamps. I think I've got eight about that size. About 6 quick release, bunch of spring clamps, 2 of the bigger kind of F clamps, and then those 2, and I've got another sash clamp which just sits here by the side of the door. So I'm kind of glad I've got that sorted. It's another thing to tick off the list. I'm thinking that maybe tomorrow, possibly next week, I need to think about my storage of tape, and I may end up just putting it into a box. I might just see if I can find a tub that can fit up there, generate a bit of space there. But there's something, yeah, I've got, it's like, that's what each one of those was, and probably isn't far short of 2,500 yards, 2.5, so probably about 2 kilometers of monofilament fishing line on those. Date back for a time when I decided to get into fishing, and that was the cheapest way of buying it. Also very useful. I used it quite a lot for experiments in physics. Not sure actually what I'll ever do with that. £4, £2, and £6. A bunch of other ones. Some £10 when I decided to do a bit of sea fishing. And that's just some orange sort of string. If I remember rightly, that was from a pop-up target for air rifle. So you could kind of plink it down, then pull it, get it back up. It's a bit, it's not warm here today. It's not brilliant. There was a lot of clouds earlier, a little bit of rain. Still might try and get the lawn mown for the first time. It's quite long. But here's an example of my crazy storage. Here's a good tip. If you know someone, if you've had a baby, or know someone that's got a baby, save the formula tins. Great for storing things. They have a metal lid inside that peels off, and they're usually no sharp edges. But that is just full of markers. Too good to throw away. But then what do you do with stuff? You don't throw it away. Yeah. My kids have their own markers and colouring pencils. They don't want to just have dad's old stuff. Here's another one. String. Punch a hole. I should put some of these as my tip videos. Ball of string in old, I think this is a medicine pot of some sort. And it will come out and you've always got string. It just won't go everywhere. At some point, demo, I need to take my, there's a new local metal scrap merchant opened up. So I need to give them a ring and see if they are able to take kind of small quantities. It's all a bit mixed. There is some aluminium in there. It's mostly kind of ferrous, old saw blades, bits of, looks like a watering can spout found on the road one day walking the dog. Been run over a few times by the looks of it. I've got to find a place for these G-clamps. These need a bit of a clean up. One of the problems with this workshop, like any kind of unheated place, you get a lot of surface rust. Rag and Bone Men, Rob. Yeah. This part of England is very populous with traveller community. So we have vans coming round, trucks coming round, estate cars coming round regularly. If someone's got a skip in their garden, they will stop. Sometimes they'll knock on the door and ask permission. Sometimes they won't. And sometimes, well, it's any part of the country. A friend of mine lives a few valleys over from you, Rob, up in kind of Ebervale, that valley. And she was saying on Facebook a few weeks ago, somebody that she knows had been, somebody knocked on the door, was chatting to her, asking if she had any rubbish that she wanted getting rid of. She looked around and there was somebody in her back garden pulling stuff out already. Same friend had something taken from her garden. Quite a few neighbours had things taken from their garden, and not stuff they wanted to get rid of. So there is a fair bit of that. We've had, obviously, I'm not saying that it's necessarily travellers, but certainly a lot of people kind of suggest that it might be. A lot of trailers get stolen around here. It's a rural area. So there's a lot of rural crime. We use Nextdoor, the social media site for neighborhoods, and somebody put up 2 days ago. They were working in somebody's garden, kind of landscape type work, and their wood chipper, somebody drove up. They've got CCTV. Unfortunately, none of it shows the registration plate, but a little white van, not a transit, but a smaller one, sort of Citroen dispatch type thing, drove up, hitched his wood chipper, and drove off with it. And that's his livelihood. A lot of agricultural trailers get stolen. It's just not great, really. And we do have where the new metal place is, just a couple hundred meters from it, is our local waste utility, where you can take household waste, metal, wood, and that you separate it. You kind of, there's a wood bay, there's a metal bay, general household waste. If you've got old appliances that aren't working, you can go and put them with the appliances, small appliances, big appliances, plasterboard, as long as it's not wet, hardcore, all that sort of stuff. You can sort of drive in. I think, as I mentioned before, I hate going to the place. So many people. Remember once going along and somebody had a clear bin bag, sort of one of these sort of recycling type bags, and it must have had about 50 paperback books in it, and they just threw it into the paper. And just thinking, well, I could go to a charity shop and somebody might buy them 50p each. It's some money for a charity. So we try and recycle and charity shop as much stuff as possible. This bag of metal, I could put it in the utility. I shall ring the place up and see whether they take small quantities. I have that. I've got a old central heating pump that I replaced a little while ago. That's a couple of kilos of cast iron. Might get that. It might cover my petrol. I can't imagine it's going to pay me very much, but it might be something to bear in mind for future if they do take stuff. I'm hoping, though. I'm literally hoping that this next week I can start deciding which tools are going where. I've cleared. We have a very big patio table. My patio is just out here. Obviously, how I can manage to sort of do some of the bigger things when the weather's appropriate. I've cleared that table. One of the tip videos I'm going to do next week is, if you're thinking about where you want to store stuff, rather than kind of doing up on the wall and kind of trying to decide what's going to fit where, I'm going to mark out each of the bays that I've got. So I've got 3 bays here. I've got another 2 over there. I've got an idea to make those 2 over there bigger. I'm going to mark those areas out on the table, and then I can lay tools out and photograph it. Stem, I'm quite happy to sort of tip that out and put a magnet through it, separate the non-magnetic from the ferrous. If it gets me a few extra pennies. Of course, not throwing stuff away is why I've got just tiny little bits of wood. Yeah, it's like I'm really not sure what I'm going to do with that. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'll stick it all together. I watch people doing kind of wonders on their lathes, and they're taking tiny little bits of wood and segmenting them together. And I think, I've all got the little bits of wood. Well, if I could actually make them fit together, is another matter. But it could be interesting. I've seen a few people do kind of almost like mosaics with bits of wood. But I could do with a real big, nice wide belt sander to take it all down there. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to do some hunting around on Pinterest. I need to check actually some of this tape is sound. That's a bit of tape like that. That is a roll of tape, purple insulation tape. I bought that in 1989 so I could mark my climbing gear. So when I was at university, everyone had their own climbing gear, and we used to mark. We had a specific set of colored tape that we would use. So mine was purple and green. What should I put in? Ah, yes, I still have some green. So I put the purple on. So all my carabiners, all my walnuts, slings, everything had a strip of purple and yellow tape. So when you were climbing, you could just share them around. Ah, no, that's what I was looking for. It's actually good that I was doing that. This is some reflective tape, and I'll put the video up. It's masking tape. I'm just checking to see if this masking tape's any good, because it's an old roll, and the top surface is just separated from the glue. It's probably having it out here for so long. Hi, Jim. How you doing? Did you decide to go to the wood show? Ah, I hate tape when it does this sort of stuff. Yes. Now, is that sticky? No. It's separating again. Half sticky, half not. I think I might be saying bye-bye to this roller tape. The other day when I was sorting out, and I mentioned about finding my first aid kit, Steve Maker made a really good point. Cut the grass. You're ahead of me. I haven't cut the grass yet. I do need to. It's it's not good. It is not good. But Steve Maker was saying the other day, my first aid kit, it is a proper first aid kit. It says first aid emergency medical pack. This is designed as an expedition pack. So it's designed to, it's not kind of designed really as a trauma pack. You can put trauma stuff in it, but it's a case of, right, I want something to contain my first aid kit, but when I need to use it, I want to tip it out. I do have down in the summer house where all my old outdoor kit is, I have one that's it's called a Gregson Pack, which would literally open up and you've got a series of pockets. So you could literally have whatever you need in particular pockets. And that was my preferred one, slightly more compact than this. That was my preferred one when I was kind of sort of doing anything out in the mountains. But this one has been my workshop one for many years now. In fact, I probably need to check that things like the antiseptic wipes are actually still okay. I mean, some of these things, this is an eye wash I keep in here. Technically, this is probably out of date. Can't even see the date on it. Oh, yes. Yeah, it's a little bit out of date, but I'm still would be happy to use that if I got something in my eye. It's not going to be any worse than putting my head into the tap. but it's a bit easy to squirt, although actually sort of doing your own eye is a bit tricky if you've ever tried it. It's not really designed for kind of, I've ripped my leg open, but it does make me feel sometimes, I think, if you see the kind of military guys, they often have, large, Jim's just say, that's a good point. The large wound dressings, I have some of those down in the summer house. I've got a big trauma pack down there. And I sometimes wonder whether I shouldn't almost have a large trauma dressing and a tourniquet, out open, maybe on the back of the door. So if I get a serious injury, if I cut myself on the table saw, this is pretty much not any use at all. This is fine if you've this is fine for kind of patching yourself up. Actually, shows how long ago since I looked in it. Field dressing. But that's buried in there. And I looked in there, I didn't even kind of spot that. And again, that's because this was put together as an expedition pack. So I just wonder whether, this field dressing, I need to clip to the back of the door and with a tourniquet, because if I gash myself on the table saw down here, if you don't really know, underneath here I've got a sliding trolley with my 10-inch table saw on. It's not the easiest thing to get out, and that's one of the reasons why I'm trying to do this, so that I can actually get that out. I can work on it. If I'm using small things, I can work on it in here. It does make quite a lot of mess, and obviously a lot of noise. I want to make a couple of little jigs to go on it. I don't have cross-cutting jigs and the like. But I think maybe these should be handier. I should keep a tourniquet handy. I know tourniquets, there's a little bit of kind of discussion as to whether you should use tourniquets or not. For many years, it was a case of no, don't use tourniquets. Military certainly have used them a lot more over the last sort of 20 years. And it's fairly standard for people to carry a tourniquet and a field dressing really, really handy. It's probably a reflection of the nature of operations. Somebody's doing their lawn. I'm just going to close the door. Next door neighbours decided to do some strimming by the sound of it. But Steve Maker, getting back to that, I am more for getting off on tangents. Made a really good point that this doesn't really look like a first aid kit, and tucked up onto sort of the shelf. And if I put it up there and it's sideways on, it doesn't look like a first aid kit. Now we do have one of the sort of large green first aid boxes by the back door, which is kind of 3 meters that way. But this is reflective tape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up the ends of this, pop it up there, and just really make sure my kids know where it is. Wayne, absolutely, totally. And I think that's one of the reasons why tourniquets went out of fashion for kind of sort of general first aid. My dad was a medic he was a paramedic, kind of a regional paramedic. He was in the RAMC, Royal Army Medical Corps, for his national service, and did parachute training. And so I think somewhere I still have his issue tourniquet. I think it's got a broken case casting on it. But people don't really understand how to use them. There was a survey a while ago where it's quite a few years ago, where they asked members of the public. It was something like the RAC or the AA, the Royal, the sort of car repair people. They were asking people about first aid and how you treat a head injury, and quite a few people said, "Oh, put a tourniquet around the neck." It's just like, it's really quite funny. We've got that, Jim. So aerial rescue training is primarily concerned with harness hang syndrome. Yeah, exactly. I did, after university, I spent quite a bit of time, kind of the year after university, I spent most of my time kind of running around mountains and caves, mountain biking, doing just about everything. And I spent a couple of years training with a cave rescue team in South Wales. And I spent some time training with mountain rescue teams as well. And the hanging around in a harness, yeah, it can be a big problem. I can remember doing one training exercise. We had a training day, and I was playing a casualty. We had a variety of casualties in this gorge in South Wales, and one guy was hanging off a bridge. He was kind of an abseiler, supposed to representing actually somebody doing potholing, so actually sort of rigged inside a cave, but they did it off a bridge, so we didn't have to go under because it just adds to it. And they had to make sure that he was actually changed over on that particular station regularly, because potentially hanging around in a harness, not moving for a considerable amount of time could be really quite dangerous. Yeah, I've done a few little exercises like that. We're hanging around and you're thinking, yeah, how much do I pretend to be a casualty, or do I actually become a casualty? Because it's so easy when you're doing those sort of things. If you can't move, or you're not supposed to move. It's really quite funny on that one. I was unconscious, supposed to be a mountain biker. I thought it was cave rescue. It was kind of my mountain bike, and we just thought it would add to the realism. I was got tangled up in my mountain bike with a rucksack on, and they got the mountain bike clear fairly easily. And then one of the guys said, "Oh, we'll cut the straps off on the rucksack." I was sort of unconscious, and I kind of very quickly just unhooked my arm, so he didn't cut my really nice Carrymore rucksack. So Carrymore made really good rucksacks. So yeah, I'm gonna get across on there. I need to make it clearer. I think I might do a little post about that actually, because I think it's not something that people really talk about. I'm not a first aid trainer. I've done a lot of first aid courses, and I've worked on first aid training. So my dad ran a company for it. I even wrote a first aid training course once. But I'm not up to date at the moment, that's for sure. Yeah, it's the if I remember correctly, you get a flush. It's the same with crush injuries. If somebody's got a massive crush injury, if you can release it within kind of sort of 10 minutes, that's okay. But any longer than that, essentially you have to tourniquet it off, because there's a buildup of toxins in the part that's crushed. And once you then release that, if that flushes through, I think kidney failure, if I remember correctly, happens fairly promptly. It's scary to think about actually, with some of the potentials we have for hurting ourselves. Yeah, I think about it with the table saw. I mean, the first table saw I used, let's have a look. Crikey, quite a long time ago now. Over 25 years ago. And it was an old, possibly it was a Wadkin, but I don't remember well enough. But it was huge, 18-inch blade, no riving knife. I thought we had two. There was one with an 18-inch blade, and the other I think was a 14 or 16-inch blade. And the Smaller one had neither of them had riving knives. The larger one didn't have a riving knife, but did have a guard over the top. But that guard was actually mounted from above, so no riving knife. But that was then inside. There was a massive hood, extraction hood. So you literally had to climb into the extraction hood. You had to duck under in order to use the saw. So that was yeah, that was not fun. It's partially my hearing's a bit crazy. But I think the table saw. I mean, anyone in the maker community knows about Jimmy DiResta's little finger. Knows about the saw stops. I'd love to see a saw stop. I would actually be prepared to stick the side of my little finger into that to see how effective it is. But yeah, the potential for damage. Yeah, some of our tools. I don't worry too much about the bandsaw. Mine's so small anyway. I've used much bigger ones. So my only worry there really is can't cut. I've got such a narrow blade; it doesn't cut straight. If I'm trying to do like a ripping cut, it'll get caught on the grain and catch it out. But yeah, hammer drills, vibration finger, and the like. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I need to find a good way of storing tape. So many reels of tape. I do have. Probably can't quite see it from there. Just behind the door here. Oh, it's a loose one. I have a piece of copper pipe mounted in 2 holes drilled into some blocks of wood, onto which I've got rolls of wire. So if I need a particular wire, I can just pull off the wire I want. I think I wanted that one on. I think that's a solid core, and the other black one I've got is multi-filament. So I don't know if I might do something like that. But I think with tape, I want to be able to take the tape away. I don't want to have to kind of pull out a whole thing. So I might look at maybe making almost like a little drawer, an open drawer, so that I can so I might look at taking something like this, where kind of, but I'll need different sizes for the different rolls I've got. But actually I might just use one of these Racco drawers. I might just pop them in there and just have it labeled up as tape. So when I need tape, I just grab a tape. Or perhaps, yeah, I might use one of those WAM boxes. The problem with these ones is that I've got no way of putting the larger rolls of tape. Smaller ones seem okay, but I can do the same thing with the WAM boxes. One of the things I found with this reorganization is that every time I come up with one little thing and I do that, and that has a knock-on effect with other areas. Yeah, it's like, yeah, I've got somewhere to put my oil now as well, because my oil has been on that shelf there. Yeah, I know what you mean there, Jim. But would I want then a separate one for each roll? I do like those dispensers. I think Laura Kampf made some dispensers on a French cleat. So each roll was in a roll. She could take a bit of tape, tear it off. I think she used a bit of hacksaw blade to create a cutter. But then each one was actually separate, so she could then pull it off. That, I think, was a particularly nice build. I just don't know that I've got the wall space for it. Some good masking tape. Last. Yeah, see, I mean, things like gaffer tape. Yeah, you just want to kind of grab a roll of gaffer tape sometimes and just go off and do something with it. So there's a couple of possibilities. I've got a couple of ideas. Hi, David. PVC pipe cut out to set the tape in it. So kind of big pipe. So it's slotting inside the pipe, the slot. Is that what you mean? Rivets. Yeah, okay. Box or drawer, they could all have it under the lid. So as long as the roll is bigger than the slot. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, something to think about. Something I have done in the past is had something like a towel rail. So essentially it's supported on one side, and then you just put the one that you use most commonly at the open end. Or like a paper towel holder. I did use something like that for a while. That was a bit of a pain because then the little tapes would always just fall down and kind of disappear inside. I shall give some of that some thought. I like those ideas. I shall have a look on Pinterest as well. I do like Pinterest. I've not been using it as much as I should for sort of sharing things. Hi, Steve. How are you? So yeah, I do have Pinterest. I've got quite a stack of boards. I've got a lot of things that I keep on those boards. Kids do it as well. So whenever I go on, I tend to find all of a sudden I've got a screen full of Doctor Who or Harry Potter stuff. I could be worse, I suppose. I don't mind either of those things really. Put that on there. Yeah, Pinterest. It's a funny old one, really. I kind of just use it. I tend not to use it for the links. There's a lot of times you kind of think, oh, I'll save that picture because it's a really nice picture. Let's say of a tape storage system, and you click on it and it goes to nothing because it's a dead link. Or you click on it and actually then takes you potentially to. I've never had anything dangerous. I run antivirus as well, so I'm not worried about things like that. But a few times I have clicked on things and it's been blocked by my antivirus or my internet service provider. But it's a bit like having a scrapbook in a way. That's the kind of way I kind of think of it. So yeah, looking at kind of workshop organization, I've got a board just about that. So I'll kind of type in something. Screwdriver storage, plier storage. So, for example, the plier storage I have here, which is a fairly simple idea. It's just a flat. It's just a flat, a little bit flatter than that, piece of timber mounted to two other pieces to hold it off the wall, and then your pliers just sit over the top of it. Yeah, it's a simple idea, but it's kind of one that's I found on Pinterest and stored it, and it's just kind of, it's one of those things where you kind of go, yeah, what a good idea. It's not rocket science, but things that other people have found. So I find it really useful for that. And once you start looking at one thing, of course, it starts, because it's the algorithm, the AI behind it, whatever, it starts suggesting things for you. So if you're on the kind of, I need an idea for something, it can be a really good place to go. I know some people use it, a lot. But I think it's got a lot of potential for certain types of users. Other than that, I just kind of use it in a way, in a similar way you could use Google Images, because it's a visual thing. I want an idea for, wood turning something. I want an idea for storing something. I want an idea for, workshop organization. And you type in a few keywords like that, and essentially just acts as quite an effective visual search engine. So quite a powerful thing. And I think certainly one of those things that has a lot of potential for getting growth outside of a certain media. I do look at Instructables, Wayne. I think it's fantastic. There's I've had some really good ideas. I've seen a few things where I've fixed things through using Instructables. Kind of on I have various to-do lists and various sort of lists of ideas, and some of those just exist in my head. And one of them is that I do want to actually have a go at writing some Instructables. Part of the aim of reorganizing the Tinkerage is to try and get myself out here. I want to make it more useful for me. I just want to be able to get out and do stuff. It makes me a lot happier being able to get out here, and I want to be able to. I want to set this up, like I mentioned earlier. I've put battens on the ceiling, which I hope to use to be able to create camera mounts over the, so I can get vertical shots nicely, and maybe build a couple of arms so I can get downward shots without having a tripod in the way or having a tripod balanced on the bench. I've almost had a couple of accidents with that. And one of those sort of ideas I want to do in order to kind of, to pick a phrase, kind of build my brand, is to try and record some of the projects, not just for YouTube, but also to maybe do some of them for Instructables as well. Yeah, I know, best laid plans for mice and men. I have so many plans for things that I want to do and I would like to do. And yeah, hopefully I can get some of them done. There are many things that I would like to do that they're not going to happen. But I'm going to try and get this. Yeah, I want to do some stuff. Instructables, I think it's fantastic. I like some of the competitions. I have to have a go entering, some of these things. I'm not too fussed on competitions. Yeah, I should have caught that. Sorry, Jim. Yeah, I need to. Hitchhikers is one of the few pieces of fiction that I can read repeatedly, and every few years I do try and reread it. I think it's about 3 or 4 years since I read it last. Although I said to my eldest, I was talking with my eldest on a dog walk a few days ago. I want to reread Long Lost Tea Time of the Soul. I want to read it before she reads it. She hasn't read Hitchhikers yet either. I do want to get her to read that. She'll probably find it. Yeah, I'm not sure how she'll find it actually. She likes such a variety of things. So I think she'll either love it or have disdain for it. I'm not sure. But yeah, there's aspects of Long Lost Tea Time of the Soul, and I can't remember the name. What's the one that followed it? Yeah, I can't remember the follow up. I've got upstairs on the bookshelf, and I shall read that again as well. Got a book from the library that I'm in the middle of, so I shall finish that, and maybe I'll go on to that following. The problem with all this tidying is it's just so messy when you're in between, but it can't be any worse than it was previously, because it was not good at all. Yeah, I just couldn't get in here. I couldn't do anything. But is the Dice Man the one where is it the real Dice Man, the one where he actually did do it, or the fictional one where everything was based on decisions of the roll of a dice? Because I think there were two, weren't there? There was somebody who actually did do it, who lived for a year basing everything on the roll of a dice. And there's a fictional one as well where there's which is a little bit more horrific, if I'm correct. But I haven't read either of them, but I'm aware of them. At the moment, I'm reading Tall Order by Stephen Leather, which is kind of just a off the record intelligence agents tracking down jihadists over a sort of 10-year period. Generally quite horrific, but poorly written. Well, no, it's not poorly written. It's engaging. Chapters are short, perfect for sort of going to bed. But it's not gonna. They're not highbrow, that's for sure. Easy reading. Like the Andy McNab and Chris Ryan type books. That's the other thing. I've got another one of these pots. It's just full of bits of string. I think if a piece of string is, if you've got a meter of a piece of string, may as well keep it. I think it's less than half a meter. I don't, but if anything above that, that's another series. The Witcher series, another series I haven't read. I could just read. Hi, Rob. I could just read and read and read. I used to. My eldest is a big reader. She reads. Well, she's studying for exams at the moment, so she's not reading as much. But she'll read 100-page, 150-page novel in a day easily. And yeah, longer stuff, yeah, as well. And it's not just kind of teenage stuff. I mean, she's read Tolkien and the like, but she's obviously stuff for English, things like Jane Austen and Shakespeare, some of which she's read voluntarily. Just absolutely stacks and stacks of books, and literature, proper literature. But she loves writing as well. But when I was a kid, I would read, probably a book a day, and even when I was a few years ago, it was crikey, probably about 8 or 9 years ago, I was quite poorly, and was off for a week, off work, and it's kind of sort of poorly where you just kind of you can't go to work, you can't really do anything, but just like not poorly in the head. So I wanted to. My wife picked up quite a thick, I think it's about 1,000-page sci-fi book. It was going cheap in Smith's when she'd been in. She said, "Oh, I'd like to keep him busy for a week," and I think I read it in 2 days. So I've always been a fast reader. And I just take in information. Yeah, that's always been one of my things. Taking ideas. That's why I'm a bit of jack of all trades. I just read so many things. I think most people that are watching at the moment or in the comments are people off to Maker Central. You're all as excited as I am. I missed last year. I did have a ticket. I ended up giving it to someone. I'm not even sure if they went in the end. But yeah, I was gutted last year not to go. But I'm doing absolutely everything I can to make sure that I go this year. I think I'm going to have to be hospitalised before I'm not going. Yeah, I was so gutted, Jim, last year to have missed it, and a lot of people were very kind. I've still got the box with the T-shirt in it that lots of people signed, and kind of every now and again I kind of pull it out and have a little look. And that reminds me, one of the things that I'm hoping when I can sort in, I've not really got 100% idea of how I'm going to do it, is I've got to get a sticker board up in here. I got given some Perspex a while ago, so I might a couple of sheets of Perspex, probably about 3 foot by 18 inches. So I'm hoping that I might be able to use that somewhere. Not sure where, because I'm so short of wall space, but there are some gaps in the ceiling space, and so a bit of Perspex might be able to fit up there. So I've got stickers, or I might even kind of almost like hang it sideways across there, so it's almost like drawer front. That might look quite nice if I'm sort of doing things like this. But yeah, it's getting excited. I was thinking about it the other day on a dog walk. Look. Yeah, I think you did some instructables, haven't you, Rob? I seem to remember that. Increasing views to YouTube. Yeah, I've got to work on that. Subscribers seem to be losing and gaining at roughly the same rate at the moment. Rob, you make sure Saturday I'll be around. Yeah, you make sure we catch up. That's something I was thinking about. There's so many big names going to Maker Central. I'd love to. Yeah, I do want to meet and have a quick chat with Jimmy DiResta, but I'm not interested in queuing up for 45 minutes to an hour just to kind of say hello and have him spray paint DiResta on my T-shirt or on a piece of wood or something like that. But he's certainly a chap I want to have a chat to if possible, maybe in the bar or the Hilton afterwards. Similarly with Bob Claggett. But for me, actually, it's people like yourselves in the list that I'm looking at now. They're the people I really, really want to get to meet. Shake hands, hug a Berkey, and things like that. A lot of people very supportive. It's like just making the community come that little bit closer together, I think. Meeting some of the big names. I mean, there's a couple of big names. I'm not. Colin Furze. I've watched most of his videos. I'd like to have a chat to him. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a really interesting chap. But just queuing up just to kind of go, oh yeah, I like what you do. I like the things with the flames or the blades or the engines and things. I'd just rather say, yeah, how'd you get your ideas? And just have a chat over a pint. Just actually have a conversation with them without the pressure of, oh look, there's 15 more people just in the bit of the queue behind me. Never mind the fact there's another 300 going around the corner. I mean, how Jim? 6 hours in one spot. I mean, it's just, they're going to, Rob. They're going to have queues. They're bound to. You could be people like that. You kind of. I'd like to think that maybe they get told, right, look, he's going to be at this spot for 2 hours, then he's having a break. Then he's going to be at this spot for another 2 hours, then he's having a break. So he's not just an exhibit. I just kind of. I think I wonder sometimes if I quite like watching Adam Savage, how he kind of dresses up in costume and goes out into the Comic Cons, sort of dressed up and disguised, and ways to see how many people spot him, so that he's not kind of. Does he do that so that he can enjoy it? I think he does it partly for the enjoyment of building the costume and going out and seeing how long before he's spotted. But he could just turn up and people would just the celebrity. Hi Dan. It's the celebrity culture. I mean, I think. I mean, Jimmy DiResta's work is fantastic, and I love his attitude to things. Actually, something I'm going to talk about I don't know if I'm going to do it in a specific video. I certainly wrote it down. I'm hopefully going to be starting the blog soon. I've spent 15 in the last 22 years in kind of management positions. And I've read pretty much, I wouldn't say all management books, but I've read a lot of management books over the years and kind of life hack books. And I do like reading some of those things. But one of the most effective hacks, life hacks, productivity hacks, whatever you want to call it, that I've ever come across is just his idea of, well, just do whatever the next step is. It doesn't matter if you don't know what the step after is going to be, if you know the next step. So it's that tale he tells of moving a piece of equipment into his old shop in New York, and they don't know how they're going to get this into the shop and down. So it'd be simple. Well, I mean, you've got to get off the truck to start with. So let's get off the truck. And now it's off the truck. Well, we know we need to get onto the pavement, the sidewalk. So let's move it onto the sidewalk. And then, well, we've got to get it. It's going down the steps. It's got to be at the top step. So let's move it to the top step. And just doing that one thing at a time. It's something that I've kind of. I think it's just really kind of resonated with me. It's something that the last. Actually, effectively, probably only the last sort of few months, where I've started thinking that, what's that first step that I can do? Doesn't matter if I don't know what the next step is. And that's kind of what I've done in here. Going on, okay, well, look, I need somewhere for these. So where can they fit? Well, they'll fit there. So right, okay. So now I need somewhere to put my screws. So that's obviously the next thing. I'll come up with something for those. I mean, it might be that I just decount the screws out into kind of, you know, some of the drawers. Yeah, Rob, I know what you're saying it's not a collectomania type of event. I think some people will be there. For want of a better phrase, just members of the public who aren't part of the maker community, who aren't on Instagram maybe and YouTube, who aren't necessarily, they watch Jimmy DeResta's things, but they don't necessarily engage other than watching. I think some of them may kind of think of it almost like a collector type thing, you know, the old kind of autograph books. I don't know if people still do that, but kind of, you know, when I was a kid, yeah, a lot of people had autograph books. I've never really liked that sort of thing of kind of treating people differently because they're a celebrity and going, oh, you're a celebrity, oh, whoa, wow, I'm gonna bow down on the ground that you're on. I'd rather just kind of almost ignore them than do that. But yeah, there's going to be the stickers. I think there's I think, yeah, from a lot of the videos I saw of people in the community, there was a lot of sticker collecting last year. Yeah, I got sent a few with a t-shirt. I'll certainly be bringing, I'm thinking of rehashing my sticker and getting some more printed. So there maybe sort of a new one of that. I'm thinking of getting a t-shirt done as well. I mean, obviously a lot of us know each other, it's one way or another from the community, but I think sometimes then maybe having just a little bit of a reminder, so I think just getting a t-shirt done. I was looking at the cover photo from the small workshop YouTube makers group, which was a shot taken at Maker Central last year, and every single person pretty much in that photo has their own t-shirt on. So I think that's quite a it's a bit of a thing to do, I think. Yeah, so a couple of jobs to do there. Full rebrand, Jim. You shall have to tell me more about that. Yeah, the maker coin thing, Rob. I gotta think about what I can do with that. I know some people have been 3D printing. Jamie Reeder, Custom Cave, 3D prints his maker coins. I've got a couple of those. They're really nice. And BC Designs on Instagram, I think it's BC. He's working on making 500. He's stamping them on, I think, aluminium. And that's really nice. I did think about maybe just getting some washers and getting a hold of a set of die stamps and stamping around the edge of the washer. But that might be a sort of a cheap and easy way of doing it. Yeah, timber ones. Are you making them round? I think that's I think I might go the timber way. I've got a couple of ideas. There's a couple of things I want to make to take with me. I wish I had a laser. I could just cut out, just get a nice piece of timber, laser pile on, and just cut them out. That'd be a nice, quick, and easy way of doing it. I'm trying to think of some ways of doing it. How many are you going to make, Rob? How many are you planning to make? So, yeah, BC Designs is making 500, and I'm not sure if that might be a bit excessive. I'm not sure. I mean, yeah, you got the laser, of course, Rob. Yeah, 20 is a good number. Keep one of them for me, please, Rob. I shall definitely. Yeah, I've got a stash of good timber down here. and I've got a couple of pieces over here. I'm not sure what this is. It was given to me. It's quite light. It's quite dark. It's got written on there about upper drawer something or other. Don't begin with R. So it's not stained. It just smells of workshop. So I might see about maybe doing that. But the thought of hand carving stacks of them, or even kind of more than sort of 5 of them, isn't something that I fancy doing at the moment. But then I'll just maybe take Jimmy Dresser's advice and just get started. But I need to. Might come up with a design. Might try some things out. I'm hoping next week get the tools sort of sorted out where I want to put them, and maybe not have them necessarily fixed properly in place, but maybe have them sorted into kind of boxes ready to go into place, because I'll need to make holders. It's like my screwdrivers here. Move that out of the way, you might get a bit of you. So my screwdrivers here are on kind of a slanted board, holes drilled. These are my electrical screwdrivers. Nothing fancy, they're Draper Expert ones. They are rated okay. But I have managed at least, I think I've managed to loosen that one inside the handle, because a couple of times I've been tackling quite a firmly set screw, and I've moved this and something's moved in the handle, so I might need to get a new PZ2 one. It's a little bit chipped out as well in a couple of places. So I want to extend that for more screwdrivers. I've got a set of these little Torx, those precision Torx. This I think was £2 or £2.50 in. I don't know how good they're going to be. It was in kind of one of these kind of home bargains type places, but it's got some sizes that I don't have otherwise. So I want to kind of maybe extend that one. I've got other things to make, and I'm happy enough with my drill storage, but I might move things around. I still have to decide. I think I'm going to be a bit stuck. I think I'm going to have to basically think. I'd love to have an area that I have for electronics, an area I have for kind of metal work, the kind of metal work I do, which is nothing huge, an area for wood. But I think basically I haven't got the space for that. So I think I'm probably going to have tools that I use most frequently, probably here, tools that I use less frequently over there. I'm hoping to kind of maybe have that decided maybe by the end of next week, next weekend. May not get all of them up, because I think it's probably going to take a few months. But yeah, then I might try. That'll give me then about a month, just over a month, 6 weeks to concentrate on that. We've got Easter holidays coming up, so won't be my kids won't be doing well. My eldest will be doing. She's revising for exams. My youngest won't have any schoolwork to do, so might get her helping me. I'll come up with something. But yeah, I did think I do have. I thought something along the lines of I got a few of these sort of. I might just get some 1.5-inch washers and a stamper, maybe just sort of stamp into those. It certainly saves cutting things out. But then I would like to do a few maybe hand carved ones. There's probably about 10 or 15 people. There's stacks more that I want to meet. There's a bunch of people. There's probably about 10 or 15 people, maybe 20 tops, who, I'd rather do something a little bit gets that a little bit nicer for them. So maybe a hand carved type thing. But I need to come up with something that's going to be not take ages. And obviously, if I mix them, it's too complex. I'm going to be taking ages on each one and risk not finishing. And that would be disastrous. It says blades. So yeah, I'm very excited about it. No, that's an idea, Jim. Yeah, I did. That was yeah. I mean, that was a piece of copper pipe. I split the pipe, flattened it out, then drew the design on. I can't remember if I did it on a sticker first, then stuck it down, or whether I just did it with Sharpie and then cut it out with a piercing saw. So I'm a bit out of practice with a piercing saw, but actually, once you get going, it can be quite quick. But again, it's about thinking about the design so that you're minimizing blade changes. Because the slow thing, same with a scroll saw, cutting itself is fairly straightforward, but it's the blade changes that can really slow you down. And it's quite critical with a piercing saw, because if you get the tension wrong, then your blades, they're so much finer. I mean, there's a piercing saw blade. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, that's one of the ones that I use, and it's less than 1 millimeter across. That's front to back. Yeah, the thickness of it. Calipers. It's nice to know what calipers are. Quarter of a mil, 0.24 mil. So they're very, very easy to break. But once you can get into a rhythm, particularly something like copper, which is quite soft, or even silver, obviously depends on the thickness, yeah, you can actually whip through it quite quickly. So that might give yeah, that might be an idea, Jim. To see what I can come up with. But yeah, it's coming up with something that minimizes the blade changes. But now there's a thought. Copper, of course, is soft enough. I wonder if that's the problem with rearranging everything. I do wonder if it might be possible. Not something I've done. Might be possible with some of these. I've not that one particularly, but might be possible to engrave. These are little carving tools. My dad bought these. These ones got plastic handles, and they're a little bit rusty. And the blades are, I don't like them particularly. Blades are at funny angles with the handles. They're not comfortable, particularly if you're dealing with quite a hard wood. But it might be possible to actually engrave into copper. Now there's a thought. So that might be something. So rather than stamping, because I don't have any stamps, look at maybe getting some. That might be. But yeah, yeah, there's a thought. Jim, you're a star. You really are a star. Grand idea. Yeah. Right. Now I seem to have got to a stasis in here. I've been trying to think while I'm talking. I've been trying to think about more things like the screws and tapes are going to go. So that's not been getting anywhere. I still have. And one of the things I've got to do, I mean, it's like my assorted drawers, which you can't quite see there. But these kind of drawers, yeah, I've got just drawers with clips, and the next one down is standoffs, electronics. The next one up is cup hooks. Yeah, and it's just, I've got one here which I can't get out. It's got a bit wedged. It's an assortment of little LED torches and laser pens, which at some point or other when I was teaching, I confiscated, and then they were never collected. So I've got a little drawer full of those, full of dowels. Okay, see you, Rob. Take care. And yeah, at least one of those drawers is big enough that it could take some tape, or the insulation tape. So yeah, it might be that I do something like that. I've got these jars. I've already put some up. It's like, I've got ones with washers. Should the washers actually be over there? Or would I be better off putting them into one of these, or one of these? I mean, all of these ones at the moment are full of electronics. So yeah, that's a variety of fans, a light fitting, some parallel ports. So what I might do is actually look at some of those, and would they be better off taking some of the contents of these? Dusty and dirty. Rob, I certainly do. 5 square meters is just not enough. I would love a bigger workshop. I mean, when the weather's nice, I can go outside and do stuff on the patio. But yeah, you can't just leave a piece of paper lying around, because it just blows away. And yeah, if the wife and the kids want to sit out on the patio, they can't if you're working out there. If it's really nice. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think I suspect I've probably got. Well, if I know that the concrete pad from the outside, the garden is considerably lower. So if I just moved kind of that way a meter, I would be hovering about 18 inches off the floor, and the concrete pad is about that thick. So yeah, that could, a bunker like Colin Firth built. Yeah, that could be fun. Yeah, the problem with big workshops, it's the money, But I'd love to. Bimmy has a dream for kind of the bottom of the garden. Our garden's about 100 feet long. The bottom of the garden, build something that's a decent size. Hi, Dom. Yeah, moving house. Yeah, it wasn't fun moving here, to be honest. And I've acquired more stuff. Well, actually, to be fair, we've got rid of a lot of stuff. I think I probably have 25% less books than when I moved here. We've got rid of a lot of things. And I know there's a lot more stuff to get rid of, but yeah, that we actually, we've got, it wouldn't be fun. I know we've got no plans to move until we're empty nesting, I think. So yeah, moving a workshop, but I'd love to have a bigger workshop. Love to maybe build something down the bottom of the garden. Unfortunately, it's just a little bit longer than armored cable comes in, unless you get kind of the stupid lengths of it. So, because they normally come in 25-meter lengths, and 25 meters wouldn't be enough. And I'm not sure whether yeah, I'm not sure it would go down well. Never mind the fact that it would cost so much. If I said, right, I want a workshop at the bottom of the garden. The neighbours who have a very small garden, there's a cottage at the other end of the garden. They've got a very short garden. They probably wouldn't be very happy either. But I think if I built a workshop, I would put some decent sound insulation into it so I could work a little bit later without disturbing people too much. We do have a hard standing where there was originally a garage, but that's where we've got our greenhouse. It would block the light in the conservatory if we replaced that with a workshop, and it would also restrict access. There's no access to the garden from the back of the garden, which obviously is a good thing security-wise. So the only access to the back garden is through sort of essentially a side gate. And a garage there would obviously obstruct that, which would be a pain for things like our garden waste is taken away. We pay for recycling of that, which saves having to try and put it in the car and take it to the local tip. Yeah, lots of things to think about. I think, crikey, been on for an hour and 40 minutes. Crikey, I can talk when I get going. Dom knows that, though. I think it might possibly be close to dinner time. It's getting dark outside. Wife and youngest, possibly both children, took the dog for a walk, so I don't have to do that this evening. I've got a bit of project video to edit tonight, hopefully, for the build for this. Not sure how well that's going to work in terms of the footage I've got. Need to do a little introduction, which I should do in a minute. My wife has just popped in, so dinner's almost ready. So I think that's a good point for me to say thank you for all watching and having a chat. I shall see you all soon. Right, dinner calls.